You're listening to episode 62 of Burning Brightly, Create the Perfect Work at Home Schedule. This is Burning Brightly, a podcast for Christian moms who are feeling called to build a business and share their light with the world. I'm Bonnie Wiscombe, a life coach, mom, and entrepreneur, and I'm honored to be your guide as you face this business building adventure full of highs, lows, and everything in between. This is where we help each other find the courage to shine. Hello friends, welcome back. Today we're going to get into the weeds a little bit. You guys know I love those 10,000 foot views of our business. I love to talk big picture and vision and goals, but sometimes we just need to know specifics, tactical tools to building our business on a day-to-day basis. So today we're going to talk specifically about scheduling and finding a way to incorporate business tasks and activities in your daily life in a way that is consistent, that is simple, that does not allow too much buffering and distraction, because it's very easy to do when you own your own business. Now, lots of people have asked me or have just wondered aloud how in the world someone makes business or work happen with kids at home, especially small children that need you. Well, in reality, you don't really need oodles and oodles of time, and you don't need kids in school all day. I am a good example of this. So I am going to show you how I build businesses with currently 9 kids being homeschooled here at home and lots of other things on my plate. It is totally possible, but it does require some commitment. Regardless of what your life circumstance looks like, we're going to talk today about how to create your own perfect schedule, no matter the constraints, even if you are working outside of the home or working for someone else, or you don't have childcare, or you have a bunch of kids at home. Regardless, we're going to figure it out. Now, first off, let me just say that I learned early on in my business building that trying to do everything at the same time is a recipe for disaster. So what I mean is when I am trying to be a mom and a business owner and a house cleaner and a homeschooler all in the same hour, then I am terrible at all of them. I'm a terrible mom and a terrible business owner and a terrible house cleaner and a terrible homeschooler, because all of those things require a certain amount of energy and brain power to do well. And when our brain multitasks, it becomes less effective. All the studies have shown this. Unfortunately, our brain is tricked very easily. We like to think that we're being productive when we're multitasking, right? How many times have you done a couple of activities at once and thought, wow, I got so much done? But if we really looked at the breakdown of how much you got done in that 1 hour trying to do 3 or 4 things, I can almost guarantee that it would be less effective than focusing on one until it was done and then moving on to the next thing. So we do kind of have to fight against our innate desire to do many things at once so that we can stay focused. So that means that now when I choose to homeschool, I'm not cleaning for the most part. That one is a little bit tricky. I'll help a kid and go do some laundry or something. But for the most part, I try to focus on one or the other. When I am parenting, I am not working. Again, I do the best I can. Sometimes kids need you in the middle of a project, or sometimes you have to respond to an email that's kind of time sensitive. But the more we can streamline these roles and not let them cross over into each other's boundaries, the better we will be at all of them. I promise that's true. Even if it means ignoring your kids for a couple of hours while you get a project done. It will require some communication with your kids. It might require some childcare if you have kids that are too young to understand this. But this is a critical lesson to learn. And as you start doing this, again, especially if you have kids at home and you start building your business from home, you're going to learn this very quickly if you haven't learned it already. But this is my top number 1 lesson to learn when trying to build a business at home. So creating really strict boundaries around time and energy has been the only way that I've been able to succeed. Now, I will say that if you only have a few kids or you have more alone time, right? Like all your kids are in school, you might be able to multitask a little bit more. Maybe you can answer some emails and then go put a couple of loads of laundry in because you have 6 or 7 quiet hours during the day to work. And it doesn't all need to be dedicated to your business. But still, even then, I think it always works better for our brains if we can give ourselves blocks of time to do just one thing. So if you only remember one thing from this episode, remember, generally multitasking drives down productivity in all areas, even though it feels good. All right, so let's talk about block scheduling for a second. It's been pretty trendy online. A lot of productivity experts, home organization experts talk about block scheduling. But essentially what it means is instead of scheduling every minute or every hour of your day, you're just scheduling rough blocks. That might look like 2 to 4 hours of a block for a specific task or group of tasks. Okay, so that might look like in the morning, I have a block for cleaning. And then there's a block for lunch and cleanup. And then there's a block for work time. And then there's a block for dinner time, right? So we're just chopping up our day into chunks and we dedicate each chunk to some main thing. Now, admittedly, as a parent, this very rarely looks clean because kids don't obey block schedules. They're not like, oh, this isn't the time for mom to read books to me, so I'm not going to ask her to read books. No, the kids are going to want you to do what they want you to do at all hours of day or night, especially if they are younger. But we can train them to follow a basic block schedule. And I found it's very efficient for kids as well. It's very good for them to have structure and to understand, oh, this isn't the time for that. The time for that is at 3 p.m. I'm going to try to exercise some patience, some self-management to wait till that time. It's very, very useful for kids to develop those skills. Now, in addition to block scheduling, another tool that's going to be very useful to learn and implement is flexibility when things begin to break down. So I'm going to share with you what my block schedule looks like for this school year and acknowledge that it will probably look different next semester. It might even look different next month. I have to stay very, very flexible depending on my needs. So for example, over the summer, I didn't have childcare for my youngest, and she is a demonic psycho baby who gets into everything and smears butter on every surface and conditioner and soap, and I could go on and on. She must be watched very carefully at all times. So I had to be very intentional about when I did work, where she was, making sure that she was cared for adequately and watched appropriately, which I usually only trust myself to do. So that was a very different phase of life. Right now, she's in school, so it looks a little bit different. So stay flexible, especially if you have young kids. My current school year looks a little bit like this. I wake up and my first kind of mini block is self-care time. I choose to exercise first thing in the day. It sets me up for success. I really love it. And then I come home and shower. Kind of in the meantime, I might throw out supplies for breakfast to get kids started on eating, but I usually make breakfast after I come home from the gym or running or after I shower. So we'll all eat. And then the next block is homeschool. So we actually have a tutor who handles most of it right now, which is a complete and utter lifesaver. But if kids need additional help, I will help with that, or I might be doing a little bit of household work while she's working with the kids. This is generally time to do laundry if they don't need me and keep that crazy 3-year-old out of playing in the toilet. Then the block schedule turns to a lunch and cleanup time. And ideally, we clean up our school supplies as well. My baby will then get on the bus for preschool. She goes to preschool 4 days a week. And then I start work at about 1 p.m. while my kids play or maybe finish a school project or read books. I then work in my office for probably 3 or 4 hours. Sometimes I go to a co-working space in case I need utter quiet and my kids aren't capable of that. And then we will have a block for dinner, which a child usually helps me with. After dinner, we read scriptures and then we play or pick up the house, maybe watch a show, and then put kids to bed. And then it's time for Luke and I to decompress a little bit at night. So that's kind of what things are looking like right now. Again, flexibility is key. In a few months, if things aren't working well, or one of my kids starts to need a little bit extra attention, or my oldest son gets more hours at his job, I might have to move things around a little bit, right? Fewer helping hands at home or more little kid needs means that I have to be flexible with my own work schedule. But that has worked, some variation of that schedule has worked pretty darn well for us for a couple of years now. So let's talk about creating and figuring out the best schedule for you. Here are the keys to doing it. Number 1, choose your priorities. Like I said, if you have young children, one of your top priorities is going to be them. It's going to be taking care of them yourself or finding childcare for them or setting them up with something that's going to entertain them while you are busy with other things. That's the first key, choosing those priorities and deciding what you will and won't let go of. The second key is to label those blocks with one primary activity. Again, as a mom, it's impossible to only do one thing for 3 hours. Wouldn't that be nice? Hey kids, I'm just going to organize this closet from 2 to 5. No interrupting me and no requests for snacks, okay? Yeah, good luck. That doesn't work like that. But as we communicate to our kids, hey, this is the part of the day where we pick up and then we have a clean house before dinner, or this is the part of day where we play outside. They can really appreciate that structure as well. And then finally, the third key, like I said before, stay super flexible. It is not a sign of failure to have to change your schedule, not in the least. It just means you're paying attention and this current schedule isn't working for you. As long as you can remember those keys, choose your priorities, label the blocks with like a primary activity, and stay flexible, then you get to decide, when will the bulk of my work time be? When will I get the most of my business time done? Will it be early in the morning? A lot of people say that the best time to work on your business, which I probably agree, I've never done it, but would be first thing in the morning because that's when your brain is freshest. Generally, that tends to be a very high needs time for kids. So that has never been a solution for me except for maybe early morning before kids wake up. But if that's possible, I would schedule that in for you because that sounds amazing to do it first thing in the morning or right after kids go to school. But you can also just fit it in wherever you can. Working in the afternoon has actually worked really well for me. I look forward to my work time because it's kind of a natural lull in the day right after lunch. Kids are just kind of going off to do something fun they've been looking forward to doing after school time, and I'm looking forward to sitting down with my own projects to work on. Now, this works for me because I have big kids to help. So I have teenagers who are home during the day and they can pitch in if need be. If a kid has a meltdown or there's a fight or somebody knocks on the door, they can handle it. When I did not have big kids, my work schedule looked a lot different. I would work, like I said, early in the mornings before kids woke up, during nap time, or after bedtime. Occasionally, I would get childcare and go to the library or a coffee shop or something so that I could get some focus time done in quiet, but I had to be a lot more flexible and a lot more creative in fitting that work time in. If you have kids in school, it might look like self-care time or getting kids ready and getting them off in the morning, and then maybe you do a quick cleanup of the house, and then you get a big chunk of work time from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. Fit in a little lunch break, do some laundry, go pick up the kids. You're going to know probably already, if you haven't already created a great schedule that works for you, what a good chunk of time will be for your business. If you only have little kids, maybe your work time would look like an early morning planning session before they get up. I love to plan my day or week early in the morning when I'm still fresh and excited for the day. Maybe you do some work time during naps or during quiet time. I'm a big fan of quiet time. Or maybe you just decide you're going to let the kids watch TV for a couple hours in the afternoon, and that's when you're going to work on your business. Absolutely zero judgment from me because we do what we can to survive sometimes. You could even get really creative and maybe you decide to take the kids to McDonald's a couple times a week and they're going to play on the playground while you bring your laptop and work on a blog post or a podcast or something. Like I said, multitasking is so hard and it's not ideal to watch your kids while you're trying to work, but it is possible. You really can make anything work. I have found with little kids, actually, that they very often only require a few minutes of focused attention with them every hour or so, and then you can work while they play by you. So I'll go into the playroom with my kids and say, hey, let's build a tower with Lego. And then we'll build it up, and then they get distracted and they're off playing for another 45 minutes while I can pull out my laptop and do a little bit of work. All right, so that is kind of a broad idea of how you can create a block schedule that works for you with your business needs and go from there. And again, stay flexible at all times, especially when there is some sort of a shift, like kids start school or get out of school, or there's a break, or there's a sickness, like September, when everybody brings home the new sicknesses from school. You might have to pull back on work a little bit because you got kids home sick. You just pay attention to those ebbs and flows of life and be flexible. Okay, a few more tips before we wrap up. If life already feels full for you, which, side note, it does for most people, then it's important to acknowledge that something is going to have to give. The first thing I recommend to people is to do a time audit. If you haven't tried this before, it's really, really fun. You just jot down everything you do in a day and how long it takes you. You just do it for one day, preferably an average day that, is made up of what you usually do day to day. And then you look at it at the end of the day and decide, oh, I had no idea that I was spending 45 minutes every day on laundry, or I had no idea that I was spending 45 minutes on Instagram. Paying attention to where your minutes go can really give you a big picture idea of whether you're spending your time in a way that is in keeping with your priorities. So once you've done that, then you get to decide, what can I do less of? What can I delegate? Or what can I delete? I like to call it that. You're just clicking a little button and deleting some things from your life sometimes. That is completely within your prerogative as a business owner and mom. So what are we going to do less of? What are we going to delegate? And what are we going to delete? So here are a handful of areas that most moms have to scale back on a little bit when they start making time for their business. Laundry, of course, because children create endless amounts of laundry. It's ridiculous. A few ideas are making kids over the age of about 7 or 8 do their own. Once they're old enough to put things in the washing machine and pour some soap on top, that pretty much covers it. It's a pretty easy skill set to master. You can stop folding. Did you know that folding is optional? Some people out there are probably freaking out. Totally optional. You can stop putting clothes away. You can just sort them and leave them in baskets, and kids can come get their own clothes out of their own baskets. They can put them in their drawers if they want, or they can just pull them out and get dressed. Can you imagine? If laundry didn't require sorting, folding, putting away, and then putting the baskets back. That is all optional. And side note, I don't do most of that. It's very freeing and I love it. Maybe you could consider not mixing kids' clothes. So you only put one kid's clothes in the wash at a time, so there's no sorting involved. So there's a lot of different hacks to minimize the amount of work and time required for laundry. Food, oh my gosh. Buying, preparing, and cleaning up food takes up so much time, especially with a large family. Have you considered using a service like HelloFresh or one of those boxes that delivers the ingredients to your door and you just put them together? Or could you create a list of 7 to 10 meals that your family all loves and you just rotate those over and over and over? So there's no meal planning. It's just the same 10 meals over and over and over. Could you create a grocery list template that you could add specialty items to, but you always know what to order? And I'm pretty sure some grocery apps will actually save this for you. So you just go click yes to all the things and you reorder your same regulars. Side note, if you're not already doing grocery pickup or delivery as a business owner and a mom, you must start immediately. It saves so much time and it saves impulse purchases. Bonus. Have you considered, or do you already give your husband or kids the job of cooking dinner? Do you delegate dinner to those capable of doing it, or even just jobs like chopping vegetables to someone who's old enough to do that? So all of those are ways to let go of some of that food stress. Cleaning. Everybody is always stressed out that their house isn't clean enough because people live in it and living people make messes. But perhaps you can create a chore schedule that has people cleaning every single day. If my children did not clean every single day, we would live in a literal cesspool. It's so messy so quickly with 9 kids at home. So everybody is required to pick up an area every day. They're required to wipe things down every day. They're required to unload and load and help out with picking up toys and any other messes that happen. Make sure that other people are participating in the cleaning activities. Even young kids, really young kids, 2, 3 can pick up toys and clothes. They can put plastic plates in the sink. Kids just a little bit older can help unload the dishwasher. Very, very easy. So what ways can you delegate? Again, when they're small, they require a lot of supervision, but maybe you can even delegate that. Ask your husband to have the 5-year-old unload the dishwasher with him and teach him some work ethic at the same time. Consider doing deep cleaning just once a week or once every other week with the whole family involved on a weekend. Or maybe even hiring cleaners. Even one time a month, having cleaners come in and deep clean your house feels like an entire load has been taken off your brain. So what could you do to lessen your load in that area? And then finally, there's household management, because running a household is not just about laundry and cleaning and food. It's about things like paying bills and running errands and paperwork for the school or returning calls or emails. Did you know you can hire this stuff out? You can hire a household manager or a mother's helper or someone who's old enough to do some of these things for you. They can pick up and drop off carpool. They can do organizing projects. Side note, lately my 11-year-old has been trying to earn some money for a kind of expensive Halloween costume, and he is organizing all the things and he's doing a really stellar job of it. And I'm happy to pay him a few dollars to organize my junk drawer and my random cord drawer and the linen closet for a little bit of sanity, and he gets to earn some money in the process. So booking travel is another thing. If you travel a lot or you're going on vacation, give somebody else the job of combing through all the Airbnbs and deciding which one works best for your family. Although that's a task I really like, so I don't really want to give that one up yet. And I don't travel enough for that to be a real burden on me. It's kind of fun, but that could be something for you as well. In summary, there is absolutely a way to make space in your life for regular time to work on your business. Absolutely. No matter what your current situation is, but you have to be very intentional about it and you have to be able to let things go. I remember that one time I explained to a friend how I did laundry or didn't do it. We were washing, drying, and then just kind of throwing it in baskets. And she had the most horrified look on her face and said, "I could never." And I thought, that's okay. You don't have to. But I do, because I'm choosing to build my business in a way that does not allow time for folding and putting clothes away. And I am A-okay with it. So maybe you're not A-okay with not folding clothes. All right, so find something else you can let go of to make real progress on your business dreams. Because we have to remember, in our business, there is no boss but us. So if we let our brain decide when is a good time to work and what to work on, we will never be efficient. We will just be hopping around to anything that sounds good. We will just only ever work in the evenings when we're too tired to process anything because we didn't hold ourselves to the schedule that we planned before. So be your own boss. Decide ahead of time. I'm going to work from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. no matter what. I'm going to make a list ahead of time, Monday morning or Sunday night. And when that time comes, I'm going to get it done as if I were reporting to a boss. That is the only way we will get to success. We can't let our impulse brain decide for us in the moment. We'll never do the hard thing, but I promise there's a way no matter what. If you'd like help with your schedule, this is definitely something I can help people with on a free consult call with me. You can always sign up for one of those in the link of the show notes. It's always a fun time to get kind of a business review and take a look at where you could be making different choices to get your business closer to your dreams. All right, friends, we'll talk to you next week. Are you ready to start or grow your dream business? Click the link in the show notes to download the free starter guide to building a business or to schedule a free coaching call with me. And if you loved this episode, don't forget to leave a review and share it with a friend who might be feeling the call to burn a little brighter.